Hello, and welcome back to Movie Recap Factory. Today, we will give you a recap of an action drama movie from 2013 titled White House Down. Without further ado, let's get started. Spoilers ahead. The movie starts, and we see John Cale, who is a United States Capitol Police officer assigned to Speaker of the House of Representatives, Eli Raphelson, and Cale saved Raphelson's nephew's life during a tour in Afghanistan. Cale is struggling to develop a better relationship with his daughter Emily, who happens to be enthusiastic about politics. Emily is upset with her dad because he wasn't able to attend a function at her school. So he hopes to impress her by getting a job with the Secret Service. But the interview is conducted by Carol Finnerty, a former college acquaintance of his who believes that he is unqualified due to a lack of respect for authority. However, when he goes out of the room after the interview, he tells his daughter that he has been selected because he is too ashamed. We then see another security official named Walker who is taking a look at the schedule of the White House. We see some technicians walking into the White House as there is a problem in the theater. It is revealed that a tourist group is also coming to visit the White House. John, after lying to Emily about the outcome of the interview, she and Cale join a tour of the White House. At the same time, U.S. President James Sawyer proposes a controversial peace treaty between allied countries to remove military forces from the Middle East. Carol shows up and tells Walker that they have to enhance the security of the president because, after his previous decision, he has been getting a lot of death threats. Then they bring in a cake, and we learn that this is Walker's last day at the job as he is getting retired. Walker then tells Carol that she can go home, adding that he is going to take care of everything. John and Emily join Tony's tourist group, who are also there to visit the White House. While Emily hangs out with others, John hangs out with Tony, and they come across a painting, and John says that back in 1812, the White House was set on fire by the British. That painting is a tribute to the event. Amidst all this, a man disguised as a janitor detonates a bomb at the center of the United States Capitol, causing the collapse of the building's dome. Walker right away gets to action after a lot of people are killed in the blast. All the doors are closed, and the people who are inside the White House are not allowed to leave. Raphelson was in the Capitol but is uninjured, and Finnerty are taken away to a secure command center underneath the Pentagon, while Vice President Alvin Hammond is taken aboard Air Force One. All the tourists are gathered in one room. John tries to look for his daughter, but he is not allowed to leave the room. One of the security officers goes to the theater to check in on the technicians working there, but all of them turn out to be terrorists and they kill the officer. They are the mercenaries who got inside the White House disguised as workers. They now move forward, and as they go through the hallways, they start killing every officer coming their way. They then make their way to the room where all the weapons are kept. There, they kill the security officers, and now they have all they need, the best weapons in the world. Some of their men make their way to the roof of the White House and kill the security officials there as well. The group then takes the tour group hostage, but Cale manages to take a gun from a mercenary named Carl Killick and escapes to go and find his daughter. Meanwhile, retiring head of the presidential detail, Martin Walker, escorts President Sawyer and his detail to the Presidential Emergency Operations Center. Once Sawyer gains access, Walker kills everyone else in Sawyer's detail, revealing himself to be the leader of the attack. He wants revenge for his son, who was killed during a botched Black Ops mission. Cale, who fails to find Emily, kills a mercenary and takes his gun and radio. Using the radio, Cale locates and rescues the president. Stenz is pissed off at Walker for letting the president slip right through their grip. Stenz goes on to tell Walker that one of his agents is still alive and he is the one keeping the president safe. Walker, however, tells him that this is not his agent and he has already killed all of his agents. He tells him that he could be someone among the tourists. The president and John overhear the whole conversation. Walker and Stenz, on the other hand, decide to make do without the president. Walker and Stenz bring in Skip Tyler to hack into the defense system, but they still require Sawyer to activate the nuclear football. Emily, while hiding, records a video of the mercenaries and uploads it to YouTube before eventually being captured by Killick. Walker demands $400 million from the Federal Reserve as ransom for the hostages. Cale and Sawyer manage to get in contact with the Pentagon, and Finnerty tells Cale to get Sawyer out through a series of secret underground tunnels. Finnerty then uses Emily's video to discover the mercenaries' identities, discovering that they used to work for various government agencies and radical political groups. They are informed that Stenz, a former Special Services operative, was disavowed and burned on mission. leading to his capture by the Taliban. They also discover that Walker has terminal cancer, suggesting his involvement to be a suicide mission and that the attack is not for ransom. Cale and Sawyer find the tunnel gate rigged with an explosive and are forced to escape in a presidential limousine. After a car chase/shootout with Stens on the White House lawn, Cale and Sawyer are flipped into the White House pool after Cale gets distracted by the sight of Killick holding Emily at gunpoint. A gunfight erupts, which results in an explosion that leaves Sawyer and Cale presumed dead. Aboard Air Force One, Hammond is then sworn in as president. When Cale and Sawyer reveal that they are still alive, they learn Hammond has approved an aerial incursion by Delta Force to take back the White House. Knowing that the mercenaries have Javelin surface-to-air missiles, Cale tries but fails to stop the mercenaries from shooting down the helicopters. Cale gets into a fight with Stens and ends up dropping his White House passes for himself and Emily while escaping. Having already learned of Emily from the video, Stens, knowing that she is Cale's daughter, takes her to Walker in the Oval Office. Meanwhile, Tyler finishes the upload to NORAD and launches a missile at Air Force One, killing everyone on board, including Hammond. Raphelson is then sworn in as the president and, in a last-ditch effort to end the crisis, orders an airstrike on the White House. Carol informs Cale of Raffelson's decision. On the other hand, Stens, who now knows how important Emily is for them, takes Emily with him to Walker. Walker then goes to make an announcement. He says that they want the president and John Cale in the room right away or they're going to kill John's daughter. President Sawyer ultimately surrenders himself to save Emily, knowing Cale could still save them both if he was free. Walker also just wants the president, and he needs him alive and well so that he can make him activate the nuclear program. Holding the pair in the Oval Office, Walker reveals to Sawyer that his motive for the attack was to convey a message of American power. Because of Sawyer's dislike of military force, as well as backing out of the mission that killed his son, Walker had grown to believe Sawyer was too weak to be president. By launching a nuclear attack on Iran, Walker had hoped to regain international respect for America and avenge his own personal loss. He asks Sawyer to activate the nuclear football. Sawyer refuses and tries to convince Walker that his son did not die in vain, and that the peace treaty was a form of victory. When Walker threatens to shoot Emily again, the alarms and sprinklers are activated by Cale, setting fire to the Lincoln bedroom. In the chaos, Tyler tries to escape but encounters the tunnel gate bomb. When he tries to deactivate it, it detonates instead, killing him. Killick finds Cale and tries to kill him, but is ambushed by Donnie Smith, the White House tour guide, who bludgeons Killick to death with the clock. After freeing the hostages and entrusting Donnie to get them out safely, Cale battles Stens and ultimately kills him with a grenade belt. Using the explosion to catch him off guard, Sawyer attacks a distracted Walker, but Walker gains the upper hand and forces Sawyer to activate the football before apparently shooting him dead. Using updated launch codes from an anonymous source, Walker targets various cities in Iran. But before he can initiate the launch, Cale smashes through the wall of the Oval Office with a presidential SUV and kills Walker with the SUV's minigun. Cale warns Emily of the airstrike, and she takes a presidential flag and waves it on the front lawn, prompting the pilots to call off the attack. Meanwhile, Sawyer reveals himself to be alive since the bullet that hit him hit a pocket watch his wife had given him. One of the officers then comes to Carol and tells her that they have scanned the date and they have reached the conclusion that another member of the White House is also a part of this plan. John then tells Carol that he thinks he knows who the other traitor is, that they can call on the number at which Walker had sent messages. It turns out to be the speaker. Walker wanted to avenge his son's death, and the speaker wanted to become the president, so they made a team. At the end of the movie, John is made the president's personal security agent, and his daughter is proud of him. So that was all from the movie. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below, and do subscribe to our channel to view more of our amazing movie recaps, and do hit the bell icon to receive instant notifications from our side. See you all next time.